Oh my god, my face looks so greasy right now. Alright, I just finished watching A24's Past Lives, and I have to say, A24 keeps on giving, and now I feel compelled to make a video about it. Now, am I a professional film critic? I don't think so. Do I know anything about cinematography? Not really. But do I have opinions? I reckon I have a few. I have no idea if this is going to be a good review or not, but let's talk about it, shall we? Also, spoiler warning, because I will be talking about the plot of the film, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it, then come back, or if you just don't care, I guess you can stay. Okay, so here's basically what happens in the movie. Nora and Haesung are childhood besties in Korea. Nora is about to move to Canada with her family, and so her parents are like, okay, maybe you should have a date with this kid because you seem to like him a lot and you're never gonna see him again, so you might as well. So then flash forward 12 years later, Nora is in New York City and she is studying writing. And then one day she's like, wouldn't it be hilarious if I looked up this kid from my childhood and see how he's doing? And so then she finds out that he's actually been trying to look for her. And so she reaches out and is like, hey, do you remember me? This leads to them talking on Skype for a few months until Nora is like, maybe this isn't the best idea because I'm catching feelings, but we're not going to be able to see each other in person. So maybe we should just stop talking for a little bit. And by a little bit, she means 12 years. In the meantime, she goes to this writer's retreat and Haesung goes to China for a language exchange program. And here, Nora meets her boyfriend and Haesung meets his girlfriend. Flash forward 12 years again, Haesung sits down with his besties and he's like, hey, I'm gonna go on vacation to New York City. And his friends are like, hey, isn't that where Nora is? And he's like, yeah, and what about it? And his friends are like, are you trying to see her? And he's like, no. So anyways, Haesung ends up in New York City and he does meet up with Nora. They have dinner together, they go to a bar, and then Nora walks back to her apartment and just starts crying. And they probably won't see each other for at least another 12 years. Alright, let's start off with the negatives because honestly, I don't have that much bad to say about the film. One scene that I found kind of strange was at the very beginning, when they were all at the bar and the camera just zooms in on Nora's face and then she just stares directly at the camera. And to me that was a little distracting because it feels like she was breaking the fourth wall, and the rest of the movie just felt really, really grounded in their story specifically, and it wasn't really like talking to the audience. Another thing that I found a bit strange is that they never mentioned Nora's sister again. She could have just been an only child and that would have made no difference to her character. Alright, moving on to the stuff that I really liked, which is a lot of the movie. I really, really like this overall theme of Inyeon, or as they define it, providence or fate. Basically, they say everyone you interact with is significant. Even someone who you brush past as you're walking on the street could be someone significant from your past life. A small thing that I really liked was how in the 2012 era, they really made sure to make it super realistic with technology, where the old MacBook Airs, using Skype, the old iPhones. It really reminded me of growing up in that time, and I just really appreciated it as a Gen Zer. I really liked the moments where they would just stare at each other in complete silence for like moments at a time. It was so awkward, and I honestly had to just like look away, and it just did such a good job showing how much unsaid tension there was between Haesung and Nora. I especially really liked Nora's conversation about Koreanness versus Korean American, and her talking to Arthur and Arthur just like completely not really understanding the nuance of that conversation because he will just never relate in that experience. I also really love the follow-up conversation between Nora and her husband when all of his insecurities came out. What if I'm boring? What if we weren't meant to be together? What if I'm the white villain in your story? And it's interesting because Haesung also has a lot of insecurities about his relationship when he was with his girlfriend. You know, I'm so average, I'm not making enough money. Shouldn't she be with someone more qualified to be in a relationship with her? There's a shot where Haesung walks past to the left and Nora just keeps walking up the stairs. And that's mimicked at the very end when she says goodbye to Haesung, and it just like reflects that experience of saying goodbye to that your past life so well. A lot of the movie also is just taking your time, walking around, having slow conversations, showing the world around you as if you're really living in it. And this actually reminds me a little bit of Studio Ghibli films, Studio Ghibli, where the characters are just walking and they're taking in the scene around them and they just stop to look at the scene. And then at the end, when Haesung was about to get into his Uber and he asked, what if this is just one of our past lives and maybe they will be together in the next life? Maybe they won't. And Nora doesn't offer an answer. She just says, I don't know. She doesn't offer like false hope to him, and she just gives him the honest truth. And his question really brings out the what if theme of the movie. You know, what if we were together in a different life? What if there's another universe? And it reminds me of films like La La Land and Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it shows these alternative lives that they live and what could have been. And it makes it sad. But this movie is sad in a different way because it's like we only have this one life that we know. We can't see the infinite possibilities of what could be. So we should just appreciate what we do have and appreciate the choices we made to get up to this point. Then of course, at the very end, when she walks back slowly back to her apartment, and then she just falls into Arthur's arms and starts crying. It was so subtle. It wasn't a huge cry. It wasn't anyone, you know, dying. It wasn't huge grief. But in a way, she was grieving because she's grieving a life that she has left behind and is realizing she's okay with that, but it's still sad. In a way, Haesung is the physical representation of her past, and she has to be okay letting it go. She finally has confronted how far she's come in life and the choices she has made, but that doesn't necessarily mean there are things she didn't have to give up. And finally, this might just be me, but I really like movies at the 1 hour 45 minute mark because I feel like it's just concise enough to tell a full story without dragging on, and it's not super short that it can't get the message across. Movies like Beau is Afraid at the 3 hour runtime and still not being able to say everything concisely, it's just not the vibe. It's no. Alright, well that was my review. I don't even know if I got my message across concisely. What did you guys think? And do all the YouTube stuff, you know? I guess I'm in my YouTube era now, huh?